Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, I got a
Welcome to
weird
the Wellness Wake Up Weekly.
yes. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I had a
I
weird bump on my head. Okay, it's all
ah.
gone.
And today our topic is the January trap, why doing too much kills your goals. This should be good news for all of those of you who do too much. Guess what?
That's
We're giving you the permission to come back.
yeah, absolutely. You don't need to do all of the things all of the time for all of the people.
Mm-hmm. Good news. Excellent news. I could have had somebody tell me this like 10, 15 years ago, or even longer when my kids were little.
Would you have listened?
It depends on who told me, I guess, or in what way they told me.
Yes,
So,
agreed.
anyway, hopefully, we can tell you today in a way that sinks in and you understand the concept of this, because we have both been to that point where we're doing way too much and it takes a number on your body. But
Yeah.
before we dive into today's topic, let's introduce ourselves so that just in case there are people popping on. And by the way, if you're just hopping on, say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. We want to hear from you. We want to give you a shout out. So please do say hello. And we will now introduce ourselves in case you don't know who we are. So go ahead, Christine.
I am Christine Lunceford, and I live in North Central Arkansas with my husband and our four Jack Russells and all of our chickens, which are having a fit outside right now, and our guineas that are getting ready to leave today. No, I'm not killing them for all of you that are freak out. They're just being rehomed. Um, and my mom and my sister and her husband live next door. So, and I'm an Empower You coach. Carrie Marie and I have got a perfect match that we do similar things and kind of a different approach. So we just pair really, really, really well.
Yes. Yes.
So, Carrie Marie, tell
We
us
love
about
partnering
you.
up. So I am Carrie Marie Vaughn, and I am in upstate New York. So we are far away from each other. But the cool thing is we get to have these conversations and many more in between.
Mhm.
And so I live with my husband, who is my high school sweetheart. We have three adult children. We have three cats, and we're currently homing three of our grand kitties and a grand puppy. So have a full house. But it's fun. I love all of the animals. It is lots of fun all the time. And I enjoy doing everything outdoors as much as possible, although this time of year makes things a little bit more tricky because it's kind of like that weird in between. It's trying to be winter, but it's also like it keeps thawing, and so everything is icy. It makes it dangerous. So anyway, I've been spending more time inside than I'd like, but the point is I love doing all that horseback riding and camping and all of that. And I am an Unstickify Your Life coach. I help people to get unstuck in different areas of their life so they can start thriving and living a life that they want to be living without feeling stuck or overwhelmed or stressed. So,
Yeah, and you've gotten me unstuck more than once.
yes, and it makes me so happy.
I know. Because,
Absolutely.
hey,
It's
I
very
am an
rewarding to be able to see, because some of my clients, I'll work with them and then they kind of go off and do their thing. So I don't get to interact with them on a regular basis. But I love it that I get to see you every day and I get to see the progress, and it's so
oh
amazing.
yeah. And for anybody who's an overthinker, for anybody who is a what do they call that? Reformed perfectionist. I think Carrie Marie does amazing things.
Well,
So
thank
today,
you.
for
Yeah,
all of you
let's
overthinkers and overdoers, what we're talking about isn't about doing more. It's about doing
mhm.
what is sustainable, because it's really easy to say I'm going to do all the things, and then when you don't, you end up with burnout, and end up with um, being self-critical. Again, that's me. Um, so that's what this is about. Is let's focus, which is my word
Yeah,
of the year, by the way. Did I
I
tell you
love
that?
that. That's a great word of the year. Because I
I
think a lot
love
of
it.
times too, people think like, oh, we got to make all of these New Year resolutions and do a complete life overhaul. Let's get in better health. Let's make more money. Let's have better relationships. Let's do more things. And it's like, but when you put all of that pressure on yourself, it's setting yourself up for failure. And so then all of a sudden, like you're mid-January, and that's why Quitter's Day was the second Friday of January, which is already passed, by the way. So good for you
Mhm.
with your goals. And maybe you're doing the SMART goals that we've talked about in the past. Tune into our previous episodes if you missed that. But sometimes like January just feels so hard because you're putting so much pressure on yourself, and society's kind of putting pressure on you as well. So type me in the comments if you feel that pressure. If
Mhm.
when the new year hits and you're kind of midway through January, you've made these big goals and resolutions, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this is a lot more than I was anticipating. This is really hard. I don't think I can do this. So
Yeah.
drop me if this has been hard and you feel that pressure,
Yeah.
because we want to know. And you're not alone. Everybody feels like this.
You're so not alone.
Yeah.
Me, me. You know, when I shot competitive archery, one of the things that we talked about all the time was aim small, miss small.
Mm. I love
So
that you did archery. I did not know this about you, Christine.
I
That's so
did.
cool.
I used to shoot competitive archery.
Ah, way cool. I've
Yeah.
always wanted to do archery. It just looks so fun. I've never
Oh,
done
it
it.
was a blast, and it would fit in perfectly with you because we would go out and do competitions and shoot 3D targets. Well, we were walking through the woods.
What?
Yeah,
That
you'd walk
reminds
through the
me of
woods and
Florida.
oh yeah. And there wasn't much competition for the women, so I won a lot only because I had a great coach and there was not a lot of competition. It's great for the ego.
That is
So
so awesome.
that is something that okay, that popped into my head, I think, because what we're talking about is January goals. So, narrow it down. Don't aim
Mhm,
for the entire target, aim for the bullseye.
mhm, I like that.
And it's okay to suddenly go, I don't like that bullseye.
Mhm.
I mean, when we shot 3D targets, there were on some animals multiple places you could shoot for. Like you could shoot for the head, you could shoot for the heart, you could
Oh,
shoot for the vitals. So there may
yeah.
be three different bullseyes, and you're still looking at the same target.
Okay.
Don't
Alright.
ask me where this analogy came from. Holy Spirit, thank you. Um, so it's okay to go, okay, this isn't working. I get to shift. It doesn't mean you have to overhaul. It's just a shift.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you brought that up. The other thing too is that I do think that when we get that mindset of that we have to do it all, or we have to
Mhm.
do, overhaul everything or change everything that we're doing, then we immediately start self-sabotaging
Yes.
because our body goes into like fight, flight, or freeze mode. And so we're going to try to avoid the things that seem hard. And so that's why it is so unrealistic to set these big, giant goals if you're not going to start breaking them down into smaller goals. Because when we see that big goal or when we hear about that big goal, I mean, it sounds amazing. It's like, I think we've talked about in the past, like somebody could be like, I want to be a millionaire. Like, that's all great. That's
Right.
fine and dandy. But you're never going to, if you've never been a millionaire in your life, it's going to seem so far-fetched that you're going to self-sabotage when you're trying to reach that goal. But instead, it's like, okay, well, break it down into baby steps. Break it down into smaller things. Like what's something you could do today to make $10,
Mhm.
$30? Something that's so doable, so realistic. Like what's something you could do right now? Sell something. Maybe you've got stuff around your house you can sell. Maybe you have some products you could sell. You know what I mean? Like think about it, break it down into those small steps. Or how can you pair it? We've talked about pairing
Mhm.
habits. So if you're trying to get into better health, you can't just say like I want to be 100 pounds less. That's like so
That's big.
you
That's
can't.
big, and you need to
Yeah.
understand that big goals like that have to be broke
Mhm.
down. I
Yeah,
mean, they
you
have
have to break them down. And also, when the cool thing that I really like about when we break down goals is that if you can break them down into action steps,
Mhm.
because the action is where it's at. The goal itself is just a goal. And that's what seems big and scary. But if you break it down into like doable action steps, something that you actually can take action on, that you have control over, and that you can track. I mean, again, going back to the SMART goals, basically just set up a SMART goal.
Exactly. And
But
if you
if
don't know
it's
what that
something,
is, go back to one of our other videos or reach out to us
yeah,
because
yeah, or send us a message. We'll explain it to you. But
absolutely.
we don't want to go too far off the rails today. But either way, if you can break things down into something that's actionable and trackable, you're much more likely to stick with it. I'm going to just show you this really quick. And if anybody wants one of these, just send me a message and I'm happy to send you one, or drop a comment or something. So I have these little habit trackers that I created. I actually just printed it off. I hadn't had ink in my printer, so I started it this week rather than January 1st. And you don't ever have to start on a specific day. Like January 1st doesn't have to be your starting point. You can start today if you want. You could start in 2 weeks on
You're
whatever your
past
things are.
Quitter's
Get it
Day.
organized.
Quitter's Day is gone. So now we can just start.
Yeah. Yeah. So get it organized in your head, get it organized on paper, decide what action steps you're going to do. So I wanted to start using my vibration plate more. I have a vibration plate. I hadn't been using it. And I really want to start draining my lymph nodes. And so guess what? Look at that. You've got one too. So I started tracking it. I want to do it at least 5 days a week. So I have my 5-day-a-week tracker. As you can see, I've done it 3 days so far this week. And I can keep track of it right there. I also have a 3-day tracker, which I am tracking right here. This is 15 minutes of core and weight training for at least 15 minutes. So I've done it once this week, and I have plans to go to the gym today. So I will be getting the second dot filled in. But it's a way. I have them sitting right here on my desk because I'm here all the time. Sitting at my desk doing work for clients and things. And so, or being on Zoom calls or things like this. So it's easy for me to keep track of my action that I'm taking toward my goals.
And that's a great SMART goal. And the thing is that it's small periods of time. Like a lot of times people think, oh my gosh, I have to set aside the entire day. No, you don't. It can be something, little, and you have your SMART goal and you actually have it. It's perfect. It's specific. It's measurable. It's achievable. It's relative to what you want, and it's timely.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, like, when I'm on my vibration plate, first of all, it has a 10-minute thing. Like, when you press start, it's vibrating for 10 minutes. Guess what? While I'm vibrating, I can watch a training. I can listen to an audiobook. I can listen to a podcast. I could watch a movie if I wanted to. I mean, yes, it's only 10 minutes, but it's just the point that when I'm standing there, I could also be doing something else at that time, or just taking deep breaths and enjoying that time for myself. 10 minutes, just 10 minutes. It's not that long. And so that's why I just wanted to make sure, if I didn't keep track of it like this, today would go by, I wouldn't do it. Tomorrow would go by, I wouldn't do it. It would be like, oh, I'll just push it off till tomorrow. But because I'm tracking it, I've set myself up with a goal of I want to do it at least 5 days a week. Well, guess what? If today's Wednesday and I haven't done any, that's a problem.
Actually, I have to write this down because as you're talking, I'm like, okay, I want to start doing the foot detax. And I want to do my vibration plate, which my sister brought me, and it's sitting right there. I mean, it's right there. So I'm going to.
And the cool thing is, I have some goals for my business as far as like showing up online, what I'm going to be doing. I don't have those on paper form because I have them connected to I have like a social media planner. And so I have it connected to that I want to post a certain amount of times per week to share helpful tips or motivation or something that helps you to think about yourself and your health and your wellness.
Yes, because I don't know about you, but life has not slowed down in January. And I know in December, I was already thinking, okay, I'm going to just I'm going to eat perfectly. I'm going to work out twice a week. I'm going to wake up early, which I already do that anyway. So that one wasn't too hard. Journaling, which I used to do all the time, got out of the habit. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to get the right amount of sleep. Drink a gallon of water. Okay. As much as I talk about all of the wellness stuff, I am going to say I used to be amazing at drinking my water. And now I have gotten to where I'm like, I go, have I drank any water today? Not to say I am not drinking things. Like I have my coffee. I have my tea. I have my hydrate. I have my rush. And then I'm like, but I haven't drank any water. Like just water.
I have this with me like everywhere I go. This is 40 ounces.
I
And so I usually fill this up 2 or 3 times a
I love
day.
my cup like that. I broke my lid.
Oh, no. I wonder if you could get a replacement
I
one.
would think so. Mine's the Faith Over Fear one, and I'm sure because that's a
Mm,
pretty standard. So
yeah, yeah,
I went to grab it and pull it out the other day and went, "Oh yeah, that's right. I broke the lid." I didn't break the lid.
yeah.
Dogs knocked it off
Ugh.
the counter. But anyway, so
I've had mine knocked off, and actually I had to get a replacement straw because when mine fell, it broke the straw. So I just ordered replacement ones.
I
They're not the same
I
exact,
switched to the
but it's okay.
silicone straws
Mm.
because okay, anybody who is very squeamish, cover your ears. I had a friend that was taking a drink of water and she tripped and it jammed into the roof of her mouth.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say something about something was found
No, no,
inside of
no,
the
no, no.
plastic
She
straw.
actually
I'm like
physically
I was like, I washed
she physically
mine.
hurt herself, and when she fell, she actually
Oh,
fell into a door frame and busted her nose, and, she had to go
ooh.
to the hospital. So,
Well,
okay,
that
the
sounds
straw
so
didn't
crazy.
cause it, but
Yeah.
I have you ever, like, bumped your hand and you jammed it in your I switched to silicone, like, as soon as I heard Heather did that, I was like, "Ah!"
Eesh. Yeah, I just have to make sure I'm not drinking while I'm walking, I guess.
It was just
So,
something.
anyway, so
So
if you've ever tried doing everything, doing all of the things, like Christine just said, like, if that sounds like you, that you're like, "I need to just do all of it.
mhm.
I'm gonna eat perfectly, I'm gonna journal, I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna get enough sleep, meditate, journal, all of this stuff." Like, if you've tried to do it all, drop a me in the comments. I know we already had you do a me, but that's
Yeah, do it
okay.
again. It's okay.
Just yeah. But yeah, if that sounds like you, drop a me in the comments because that is something that's so common, especially I feel like for women. We all try to do it all.
Exactly.
We all try to do it all for everybody. And then it's like, oh, and we also have to do all of these things to stay healthy. And so it's just like all of these things we feel we have to do. And then it just gets too much.
Yes. Yes. Well, okay, we've been talking about this, and I mean, you can kind of compare how we do this because we do what we teach. So,
Mhm,
our fresh starts, we have supported shifts. Like Carrie Marie and I keep each other accountable. We fit
mhm.
it into our existing routine. So we don't try to, pull an hour out of getting up and taking the kids to school. By the way, neither one of us takes
Right.
kids to school. It's just an example. When you don't actually have an hour in there. So,
Mhm. Right, right. You can't just create
yeah,
time out of thin air, but you can work with what your schedule currently
yes,
is.
and lose the all or nothing mindset. Lose
Mhm.
it. 1% change. Actually, I just read this in Dr. Livingood's book yesterday. We talk about this all the time. And he said when
I know.
he was fixing his dad's health, their focus was 1% improvement every day.
And that's so doable. We can all do something a little bit to make a
A
1%
little bit.
improvement. Hey, Nilo. Hey,
And
hey. Good
it
morning.
creates momentum. And I
Mhm,
hadn't thought about this because my brain had stuck on the 1%. If you improve 1% every day for 21 days or 30 days, that's a 30% improvement. I was
yeah.
like, "Oh
It's
my gosh,
so
I hadn't
incredible.
thought about it that way."
Mhm. Yeah, it's so minuscule, and so, like, think about it, to make a 1% improvement in any area of your
Mhm.
life, it doesn't take much. It's literally just one little action step, one little choice you make, and then it makes such a difference day after day after
Absolutely.
day after day. If every single day you're doing that tiny little action step, it doesn't even have to take long. Maybe it's only 5 or 10 minutes of your life to make a better choice, to swap out maybe a bad habit with a good habit, or just do a little bit of something taking action toward your bigger goal. Like we were talking about those little tiny action steps,
Okay.
like I was saying, I do 10 minutes on the
Mhm.
vibration plate. 10 minutes. And I can be doing something else at the same time, like listening to messages or listening to an audiobook,
Well,
whatever. I can be doing something at the same time. That's only 10 minutes of my
and if I
life.
know you, you made a documentation of how you felt before you started all this, and you're going to revisit and look at, because I know you're really good at doing the, how do I feel 1 to 10? And then go back, how do I feel 1 to 10?
I do love
I
doing
know
that.
you
That's
do.
such a
You're
great
so good at
indicator.
it.
Such an amazing indicator. So if you're ever not sure, because sometimes we just go through the motions and we feel like we're not improving.
Mhm.
So first of all, if you're working on any aspect of your life, do some sort of a check-in with yourself. And actually, if you haven't gone through my book on Stickify Your Life, the 30-day journal, there is literally an assessment in the beginning,
Mhm.
an assessment midway, and an assessment in the end. And the reason why is because when we're going through the motions, sometimes we don't notice a difference. It's kind of like when kids are growing up, all of a sudden, like if we are seeing them day after day after day, we don't really notice a huge change in them. But somebody else who only sees our kids once a year, they're going to be like, holy moly, your kids have grown up like crazy. They're so tall now, or
Mhm.
they've changed so much. And it's like, oh, I haven't really
Mhm.
noticed that much because I see them every
Exactly.
day. And so if you're doing the motions every single day, you might not realize that there's a change, but there is. And so taking assessments and checking in with yourself, it doesn't have to necessarily be
Mm-mm.
daily, but if you take an assessment of yourself and how you're feeling even once or twice a month to see how am I feeling, and then taking those actions every single day, all of a sudden you'll notice. That's why when somebody's doing some sort of like a weight loss thing, it's you're encouraged to not only take your weight, because of course, that's kind of the goal, but also take the inches,
Mhm.
measure yourself in all the different areas, take the before pictures of all sides of you, because you might not realize you're changing, but then when you see a picture of yourself and take those measurements 30 days down the road, 60 days down the road, 90 days down the road, you're going to start seeing that shift. You're going to start seeing how all of a sudden your body is transforming, even though you don't really notice it. But also check in with yourself, like, how are you feeling? Do you have more
Mhm.
energy? Do you feel more clear and lightheaded? Anytime you're starting any kind of a new journey, a new SMART goal, whatever it is, make sure you're keeping track. Check in with yourself. How do I feel? And I love the scale of 1 to 10 because you can apply that to anything. Like it could be your energy levels, it could be how you're feeling about something, like how much you believe in something or not. It doesn't even matter what it is, but you can apply that scale of 1 to 10 because you can always check back in with yourself in so many days and set reminders to check in with yourself.
Exactly.
Put it
Because
in your
otherwise, times
calendar.
go like forever. I do that when I pull up my
Mhm.
journal because every once in a while I'll want to journal and I'll look at it and go, "Holy cow! I haven't written in a month. Where did the last month go?" I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
well,
because that's the thing is if we don't have some way of tracking it, if we're not reminding ourselves, life happens. We're just gonna go through the motions of life day after day after day and not pay attention to, "Oh, it's been a week, it's been a month since I've even done that thing I said I was gonna do."
right.
So that's why having some form of tracking, some reminder, like we all have smartphones these days.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ray. We all have smartphones. So put a reminder in your smartphone. It's easy for it to show up on your phone, for it to just pop in there and be like, hey, don't forget to journal today. Or hey, don't forget to go on your vibration plate today.
Or have a set time.
So,
Like my
yeah.
morning is pretty much set. I mean, it's
Mhm,
don't get me wrong, it flexes, but it's pretty much set. And I mean, we're talking about one focus, one
mhm.
sustainable
One little
focus.
thing.
And something that we don't always talk about is make sure that your nervous system can handle it. And I know that sounds like an excuse, and it's not
Mhm.
because that's me. Be aware of yourself. It's okay to pick
Yeah.
one area to improve.
Mhm. Yeah, and I love that you mentioned the nervous system because that's again what we were talking about before is like that fight, flight, or
Mhm.
freeze. If you are avoiding the things that you know you need to do because it's freaking you out, it's just, you're not going to make any improvements. You're not going to take that action because you're freaking yourself out. So that's why starting small and focusing on one thing at a time, you can always, once you're getting into the habit of something, you can always add in something later, but don't try to overhaul every single aspect of your life and expect you to see improvements, because you are going to freak out. Your nervous system's going to be like, what are
I
you doing?
know. It will. So one small 1% baby step towards your goal, and use your SMART goals. And if you're completely stuck, you just have to call Carrie and Marie. You let her get you unstuck, and then you can keep walking.
Yes, I will just, and I know Christine has been through a stuck point scan. So what I do is I just check to see, first of all, your first session with me, you'll find out how many stuck points you actually have. And, it averages. There's, I want to say probably all of my clients that I've done a full stuck point scan on, there's about an average of 50 to 60 stuck points per person. But then what we do is we're able to release them, get rid of those stuck points. And then I give you tools to make sure that you can anchor those in and keep them released.
Yes.
We don't want to let them back in. We don't want to get stuck on those again.
Yes.
So,
And okay, this just popped in my head, so somebody needs to hear this. We talked about this last week. Don't compare yourself to us, because we are several chapters into the book. You may be just starting the book. So don't compare yourself to where we are. We want to give you a hand and bring you along, because we didn't get here like immediately. If you had seen me 9 years ago, it was not pretty.
Right. And what we're doing is we're trying to speed up.
Yes, we don't want you to have to take 9 years like I did.
Right. But also you're starting from scratch right now, or maybe you're not. Maybe you've already tried different things, and that's fine. But we're sharing with you the things that we have found that work the best, and that not only have worked the best for us, but other people. We have been to so many different conferences and trainings and read the books, and we are trying to share with you what is actually working so that it saves you so much time and frustration, because nobody wants to do trial and error on things that work for 9 years. It's not fun.
Hey, I've learned a lot. Let me tell you, I have learned a lot.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, here we are today sharing with you what we've found that works.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, overhaul leads to burnout. So try not to overhaul everything. Just take the baby steps, because that really leads to momentum. And I think that we've talked about this before, but every single action step, every single choice moves the needle. And so the cool thing is that, like, if you picture the plane flying and they're just going straight on a course to wherever their destination is, if they change even 1 degree, all of a sudden they're going to end up somewhere completely different. So keep that in mind, that just a 1% change can make a huge difference in the end. So even though it might seem itty bitty and minuscule at the time, and you're like, what's a few minutes of workout, or what's a few minutes to do this, to clean up this one little area. Maybe you have a mess everywhere, and you're taking 5 or 10 minutes to just clean up a small little area. You're like, it doesn't really make a difference. There's a mess everywhere. But it does, because if you take that 5 or 10 minutes today and just do that one little area, and then another 5 or 10 minutes tomorrow or the next day, clean up another little area. Wow. Wow. By the time the month is over, it's going to be a complete transformation.
Yes.
So
I'm in a group right now that is doing decluttering. And it's so much fun, because these ladies are taking very small periods of time and cleaning up. And we just had a major apartment fire here, and it's just spurred everybody to go, hey, I got stuff I can send to them. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't ask me where that came from. Holy Spirit download again. So remember, consistency and baby steps. Anything else you want to add?
And I see Evelyn dropped a comment here for you.
Oh, yes. Evelyn, you are so sweet. You are right. Balance is key.
Yes. Although it doesn't have, when we're talking about balance, and we won't get
we won't get way into balance. We do. Okay, I like balance. She doesn't necessarily like balance. The product.
We're talking
The product,
That's
our
a completely
greens,
different.
Sorry, that's an inside
Yes.
thing. So yes, we do love those. But yes, balancing so that your nervous system stays calm and you can stay focused.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
thank you, Ray. We love you. You called us superstars. You
I know,
know,
I saw that.
okay, I have to say, Ray, these are your results.
Yes, Ray has been one of a huge, huge,
Huge.
huge part of both of our lives. Such a huge mentor. So thank you, Ray,
Actually,
for
I
everything.
have the shirt on from Face Over Fear.
Nice.
Thank you, Ray. I love this shirt. I want like 6 of them. Anyway,
I almost put that shirt on today, but it's a little chilly, so I threw on a
actually, I
sweatshirt
kind of
today.
noticed that we color
I
coordinated. Look
know.
at that. We color
Let's
coordinated.
see if we
Yeah,
can,
not even on
put your
purpose. Look at that. Okay, you're having way too much fun. So next week, we're going to talk
Yes.
about motivation versus energy support. And I think
Yes.
motivation is a smokescreen. But anyway,
Yeah.
we'll get into
Yeah.
what
So
we think that
I'm
is.
excited to talk about this. So tune in next week. We go live Wellness Wake Up Weekly every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central. We are live sharing tips with you, and we would love for you to join in on the conversations and send us your questions
Oh,
too,
yeah.
because we want to make sure that our future episodes that we are talking about things that could be helpful to
Yes,
you.
and I'm gonna kind of drop a little bit. Carrie Marie and I are both in a little bit of a transition, and we are going to be learning a lot of new stuff that's going to be coming out like end of February, beginning of March. So stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Yes. Yeah. We're both going through different programs that, oh my goodness, we're going to bring you so many
So
goodies.
many goodies. I am so excited.
Yes. So be sure to stay tuned. And in the meantime, we have all kinds of fun stuff planned. Like we nerd out on this kind of stuff, and we're like, oh, we can't wait to tell people about this. So anyway, so we will see you again next week. Have an amazing rest of your day. Have an amazing week,